What's up, humans, and welcome to a new Psicoactivo. Thank you for being here. Happy Friday, everybody. If you're going to go out and drink, don't drive. Please stay cool. Enjoy the night. If you want to eat. Okay. Earlier today, I was on a live stream that was really wonderful about the Harold Malmgren interview. I spoke to Clint Weldon, Mr. Sander Jones, and Mr. Dan Cleary. That's our second live stream, actually. And yeah, we went through the entire interview, the most shocking parts of it. It was amazing. It was a wonderful conversation. So I'm going to leave links in the description, and shout out to Team Night Shift. Shout out to everybody. Yeah, so today I was starting to see like a trend that I wanted to talk to you guys about. It seems like people who are like old school people within the UFO community are starting to come out and talking more openly about these things. And it kind of feels like the Harold interview was like a detonator, for them to come forward last week. And this is not out yet. It was just for members, but former CIA officer Jim Semivan was on a Seoul conference online event. We don't know what he spoke about. We have no idea. Last weekend also was the UAP hackathon, which had Dr. Gary Nolan talking about the work that he's been doing, and a lot of people within the community that attended that event. And then the Malmgren interview came out. And right after, we saw John Ramirez coming out again. And I saw a comment, maybe you guys can help me corroborate this. I saw a comment that said that John Ramirez may have stated before that he wasn't going to come out again until after disclosure. If that's correct, does he consider Dr. Malmgren's interview disclosure? The interview was pretty significant. Many have argued that one of the most significant testimonies ever about the topic. And it was pretty wide ranging, And then tonight, Dr. Jacques Valleé was with George Knapp on his show on KLAS. They were. I am going to find some clips for you to watch. I know that in one of those clips that Christian Harloff covered, Dr. Jacques Valleé talks about that attempt from Lockheed Martin to pass along a craft to Bigelow Aerospace when they were NIPS. And Jacques Valleé was part of that team, and he spoke to George Knapp about it. So that's really interesting.
Vallée's latest book, Forbidden Science, Scattered Castles, is a very candid and personal journal about the years surrounding his participation in OSAP. In the book, he openly acknowledges what has long been suspected, that the U.S. government and defense contractors have recovered and studied materials from UFOs that crashed. Robert Bigelow spent close to $1 million to retrofit his aerospace plant because his company expected to receive and eventually analyze unusual materials that have been stashed away for decades. The DIA analyst who managed the OSAP program, Dr. James Lakatsky, has publicly acknowledged one intact craft was recovered. Former intelligence officer David Grush testified under oath to Congress there were several such recoveries. Bigelow engaged in talks with Lockheed about the transfer of some of the mystery materials to OSAP.
I guess would be disappointed that you never got your hands on that material?
I was part of those discussions, and I think they are still, behind a veil. If I answered, I could not be sure that I give you a complete answer.
Valleé says he no longer has his security clearance and is very wary about crossing a line by talking about matters that are still highly classified.
And Christian covered it pretty significantly. And then today, Jake Barber and Matthew Pines were just on the Watch Mojo channel. To those who are not familiar, watchmojo.com is a channel that usually does lists, like top 10 lists of every single thing you can think about life, pop culture. Sometimes they do stuff about medicine, film, comic books, you name it, everything, like even music, all of that. And they have like over 25 million subscribers. And a gentleman by the name of Rob Fleece or Flies, Rob Fleece, I guess. He's been doing wonderful work. A lot of interviews of a lot of people, and I've seen a number of them. I saw the one he did with attorney Josh McDowell, who's the son of Dr. John McDowell. They're the American side that is studying the mummies alongside Mr. Jaime Maussan and other groups that are studying it, Thierry Jamon and the Inkari Institute. It's like a massive effort now at this point. He's also interviewed Professor Avi Loeb from Harvard University. He's interviewed Richard Dolan, Lester Nare, Ron James, Whitley Strieber, friend of the show, Professor Stephen Brown, remote viewer Das Smith, Lou Elizondo, Dr. Courtney Brown. So he's interviewed a lot of people, and they already did a bunch of lists too about UFOs, about the topic, a bunch of them. So today he interviewed Jake Barber and Matthew Pines, who is already a consultant or an advisor for Skywatcher. And they spoke about many different topics. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to read to you some, and I'm going to quote my friend, Mr. David Haith, who is a retired journalist who does a lot of work, and he does fantastic work too. He does a lot of transcripts, and I really love reading his stuff. So he did this, and I'm going to show you guys. He does like breakdowns, and he did one with this one because he saw the episode. I'm going to play you one clip that has me a little bit concerned because this is a topic that we've been covering in the background for a while. And I just want to make people aware that maybe we should be a little careful with this. But let's read what Mr. David Haith wrote. And the number one, he says, Skywatcher's Jake Barber has been explaining the possible consequences of revealing technical details of the group's secret sauce, quote unquote, dog whistle UFO calling system. He says it could be like opening a Pandora's box. Developed over the last 6 years, he said the equipment has proven itself to be unique in the form that nobody else seems to be able to mimic its results, let alone the method. He added, and I quote, I do have to say, like, we do keep the dog whistle configuration and how we do it. We keep that pretty close to our chest. And that's not because we're being unreasonably secretive. It's our secret sauce. And it's something we're very proud of. And a lot of time and energy has been invested in developing that system. But then he said this, and I'm going to play this part to you guys, but you got to listen to this. He said, we aren't sure exactly how serious the implications are of running this equipment. So I think there is much responsibility in keeping this private and trying to get as many government agencies involved who have responsibility when it comes to national defense and also air domain awareness. And so we're trying to work with them to make sure that because there is a potential, there's a Pandora's box that could be opened. And if we aren't prepared to deal with that, that could pose a number of problems. That's pretty wild to listen to. Thank you, Mr. Haith, for this transcription. I'm also going to show you guys a little clip from my friend Neanderthal, who's back from, I think he was moving homes. So I'm going to play you guys this clip.
My partner, James Fowler, who's been making his way out there as of late, telling his story. He was featured in episode 2 of Skywatcher, and he's out there doing podcasts now. James is the engineer of our dog whistle system that was originally, it's where our name Skywatcher comes from. It's a Skywatcher system that he put together in his past life, if you will, and has been deploying the dog whistle system, which we did call Skywatcher, and has been conducting operations for a number of entities in the government and outside of the government for years now. It's been a system that's been developed, I would say, mostly over the last 6 years, and has proven itself to be unique in the form that nobody else seems to be able to mimic its results, let alone the method. And I do have to say, like, we do keep the dog whistle configuration and how we do it. You know, we keep that pretty close to our chest, and that's not because we're being unreasonably secretive. It's, you know, it's our secret sauce, and it's something we're very proud of, and a lot of time and energy has been invested in developing that system. And we aren't sure exactly how serious the implications are of running this equipment. So I think there's as much responsibility in keeping this private and trying to get as many government agencies involved who have the responsibility when it comes to national defense and also air domain awareness. And so we're trying to work with them to make sure that, because there's a potential, there's a Pandora's box here that could be opened. And if we aren't prepared to deal with that, that could pose a number of problems.
Okay, so I don't know if you caught that, but he just Mr. James Fowler, he kind of insinuated, and I'm going to ask publicly here, did Jake Barber just insinuate that James Fowler is part of the legacy program and he's been working for years on this? Maybe I'm mistaken, but I think he said that, didn't he? If I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments, and so I can understand the context. But that other part about this Pandora's box, and this is something that I've been hearing within the community, that we don't really know what we're dealing with here. And there's been a lot of secret efforts and private efforts and like homemade efforts even to create their own dog whistle. And I would just encourage you to please be careful, because if these guys who presumably have all the resources to do this are like raising kind of an alarm saying that a Pandora's box could be open, what do you think that is? What would you imagine that would be? So just be careful. We don't know what we're inviting, you know? If the universe is teeming with life, as much as many have said in this topic, there may be like a diversity of things out there, and we don't know what they understand. If what they understand is the same as us, we don't know if they see the same reality, if they function equally as human society does. We know nothing about that really. So it's kind of concerning. I'm not gonna lie. That even Jake is saying, yeah, it's could be dangerous, you know. So if it is, just be careful. And if you think that it could be even worse than dangerous, don't do it. I guess. I don't know, you know. But yeah, that one jumped out to me. I'm gonna leave links in the description for everything. Again, shout out to Rob Fleece for doing excellent work. And he's done a lot. I really enjoyed the one with Richard Dolan and with Professor Stephen Brown. So keep up the great work, man. That's fantastic that you got these two together. Okay, so let me know what you think in the comments about this Pandora's box, about maybe he did insinuate that Fowler was part of the legacy program. Maybe I'm mistaken. Let me know if you think so. If not, what did he say really? I'm gonna repeat it later, watch it later again, and let me know what you think overall about the whole Skywatcher initiative, because they've been recruiting some people. They recruited Science Bob, they recruited Matthew Pines, they recruited Lester Nare, and people who are known in the community. And they also had Marek von Rennenkampf on the episode 2 talking about this and covering this. So yeah, it's a really collective effort. What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments. If you like the content you see, I'm going to ask you to please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you can get notified when new video drops. If you want to support the channel in any other way, I'm going to leave a few links in the description. You can become a member, or you can be part of KGRA. There's a bunch of really cool shows out there, wide variety of every topic. That's it for me today on this video, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Remember, stay curious, stay inquisitive. Bye.